And we should be good. Hello, and welcome to Cheat Code Radio Presents, a new show that will be on the channel on a hopefully somewhat regular basis. So basically, it's going to be me sitting down with developers, creators, and writers, and anything in between to talk about their journeys through content creation and gaming, and just the journey of doing it all. So joining me first is someone who ironically helped get me into podcasting, and I've known for a very long time. He's done many, many different things. He's currently the head of Level 1 Gaming, co-founder of Level 1 Gaming, host of the two Double XP podcasts, and also infamously known for his 15 minutes of fame. I am joined graciously by Mr. Fame Entertainment. How are we doing tonight, sir?
Hey, don't give me no kind words, man. I appreciate you. We go way back, like the two front seats in a Cadillac. Way back in yonder from doing different shows together. At one point, we were working. We both were at Tick. We were at
Yep.
Tick at the same time, right? Yeah, we were at
Yep.
Tick at the same time. And I was a totally different person back then. I was wild. I look back now that like I'm running level one. I was like, bro, I know I gave Lynn headaches. I know I gave him fits. And it took me up until I started level one to kept figuring out why he called me the Green Ranger. And it wasn't the Green Ranger that was with the Power Rangers. It was the Green Ranger that was trying to tear stuff up when he first became part of the team. But I appreciate you inviting me, man. It's always good to talk to you, man. I gotta get you on Call of Duty with me because I need you to carry me once Modern Warfare 3 comes out because I need a good carry session.
I absolutely can do that. So we'll kind of kick this off casually. I'm sure people are very aware who you are because, like I said, you've been doing the content creation thing for a very long time. It's really funny when you sit down and realize in the community space how long we actually have been doing this at this point in time. So I want to
I
talk
don't think people
more.
realizes that.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think they realize
crazy.
that.
Yeah, and I kind of want to start with like your gaming history because I've actually never talked about this with
Ooh,
you.
okay.
So what necessarily? So what got you into gaming? Were you a kid? Were you a teenager? What? Where were you when you started gaming?
So I like to I have to break my gaming down into sections because of course I started gaming as a young kid. My first console that I had to myself, I didn't have to show my siblings, was the Sega Genesis. It's why I love
Mm,
Streets of Rage so much. Like Streets of Rage will always have a place in my heart because I love Streets of Rage so much. That was the first console I had that was mine that I didn't have to share with my siblings. Of course, I had the Super Nintendo, the OG Nintendo that we played back in the day. Um, and then as I got older, I kind of shifted away from gaming as it was and how it is today, right? The hey, this game look good coming out, let me go play it. I shifted away from it for a while. That's because I did competitive Madden,
okay.
and it took up 100% of my time. I tell people all the time, I have two separate Xbox profiles, um, and the one I'm back to using now. When you go on there and look, you go back like to 2007, 2008. You're going to see nothing but Madden every year, countless amount of hours because I was just in a lab doing Madden because I was doing it competitively and I was in different tournaments in Texas and then I was going out to places and I was doing these events and I was trying to make money and you couldn't tell me for a while that I wasn't top five best Madden player in the state of Texas for a while. And then I just kind of fell out of love with it. And
Mm,
then I went from being the guy that only played Madden to being the guy that only played COD.
mm-hmm.
And it was religiously Call of Duty, Call of Duty, Call of Duty. I was never the 2K person. I know it's easy to like, oh, Madden 2K, Call of Duty, the casual black gamer's dream, right? It's like, you think of the black gamer for a while. It was Madden, Call of Duty, and 2K. Um, and then I eventually went back to my roots and ventured back out and remembered why I loved video games as a totality, not necessarily as something that I can do to make money, like I was doing Madden. And I got really back into my. And a lot of people don't know this. Like RPGs is my love language.
Mm.
Uh, I really got back into the Final Fantasies, and I tell people all the time, Final Fantasy 9 is not only the best Final Fantasy game, it is one of the best games of all time.
Mm.
People hate that when I say that because of people. Of course, they have 7 so dear to their heart. I am really waiting for them to give us that Final Fantasy 9 remake. I don't care what platform it's on. I don't care. I need Final Fantasy 9 in remake in my life. But yeah, man, I really had it was all over the place for a while because, like I said, I kind of stopped
Mm.
doing the actual gamer thing, and all I did was Madden. It consumed me. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad because I just really wanted to be really good, and I wanted to be one of the best, and I wanted to make money, and I wanted to be recognized as, this person, they're in the lab and they're putting in the work to become great. And I just fell out in love with it, and I haven't really I haven't bought a Madden, and man, I'm 35, right? 10 years,
10 years since you bought a Madden game.
maybe closer to 15 since I actually bought one. Played it maybe about 10 years, but since I bought one, like after a while, I was like, oh, it's a Games with Gold title now, so I guess or it's an EA Play, so I guess I'll
Mm.
pop it in. At the end of the year, something will pop in there, but I don't see myself going back because I love variety video games now, man. But that's like a long-winded way of saying, yeah, I started back way back yonder as a pup. It's a long-winded way of saying that.
Yeah, it's really interesting because I feel like that 360 era, there was a lot of people that really zeroed in and honed in on a specific game. Because, like, I did competitive Halo during Halo Reach. And then I did during Black Ops 2, I did like MLG tournaments, all
Black
the
Ops 2.
3v3s, the wager matches. Everyone remembers how, scummy those were and everything else. Like, I
Hmm.
really, really enjoyed that. And I too I stopped playing anything else. That's all I did. I just played Black Ops 2. I just played Call of Duty Ghosts.
Black Ops 2 doesn't get enough credit for how great it is.
No, it
Great.
really doesn't. It was one of the best. It still is. Like, I boot that thing up in backwards compatibility, and I'm like, this is still good.
It's what I remember, right? And then, and when I want to be scummy, I put on my one of my many gold LMGs in a target finder, and it's kind of
Oh
just sitting there.
man, that target finder was the best. Oh, you mad? Like, you get mad in a domination game. It was just like, all right, here we go.
Here we go. LMG target finder. And that was me. All right, I'm pissed. I'm putting on, and then you knew I was coming because I was gold or diamond. I pull out the diamond LMG. I'm putting the target finder on it, and now I'm about to go get 100 kills because you've pissed me off. Yeah, good times, bro.
Yeah,
I miss it. We got to boot it up and run together, dude. We
yeah,
have to.
yeah.
Good
No,
days, man.
yeah. Black Ops 2 was that special era, and I really fell into that hook. In the 360 generation, it was just like that's all I played. It was like COD, Halo. That was it. That's all I focused on.
It.
And then I think it was Advanced Warfare is when I finally got off the COD train. I bought an Xbox One, and I did like the 30 prestiges in Advanced Warfare. And then I was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. Like, I'm done.
I didn't like the. I don't like the Jazz Dash Boost. I never like. I know Black Ops 3 did it too. I never liked it. Like it got me off the Call of Duty train because of Advanced Warfare. Because I know people hated Ghost. Ghost wasn't that bad compared to Advanced Warfare. Ghost wasn't that bad. Maps were big as hell.
Now, see, the thing with Ghost is I didn't actually hate Ghosts as a game. I just hated how people played Ghosts. Like, Call of Duty Ghosts.
You camping on those big Ghost maps.
Yeah, it's like you could not find anybody, and if you got killed by somebody, they're in a bush, crouched with like a fully kitted out gun, and it was annoying as hell. Running gun died in that game.
Yep.
And
nobody wanted to come out.
Yeah, nobody wanted to come out because the maps were big as hell, and you didn't have to come out. And
You didn't have to.
they had those whack DLC guns too. Like I still remember the Ripper, where it was like you click down on the stick, it turns
Oh,
into an assault rifle, and then you click it back down, it turns into an SMG. I was like, and they're like, oh, you could buy it by itself for $10. I'm like,
yeah. No,
this is
thank you.
terrible.
It was bad, man. I I don't think we'll ever capture those Black Ops 2 feelings again in Call of Duty. Not saying it's not good, um, but just the want to just be up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning
Yep.
playing. Because I mean, demo was my thing. Like, give me demo all
Yep.
day long. Of course, Dom. I just we'll never get that feeling back again. I don't think so. Now,
Yeah.
while we're remaking everything, we did Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. Give us Black Ops 2.
Yeah. Because honestly, domination on hijacked with an SMG was just a different. That was just a whole different vibe altogether.
And I know people hate Nuketown because it's just a cluster. I loved some of my best times in Black Ops 2 was when they gave us Nuketown 24/7
Oh yeah.
because we played Nuketown 24/7. It was beautiful, dog. It was beautiful, and I miss it.
See,
I miss it.
it's funny because I feel like the old man yelling at the sky when I look at people talking about Call of Duty now, because they're like, "Oh, this is such a busted gun." I'm like, "Dog, when I was playing Black Ops 2, it was like Nuketown had 2 laneways. People used LMGs with target finders laying down. There was noob tubes flying into your spawn. The entire balance
Hmm.
system of the game was busted, but you still figured out how to drop 70 bombs. You just made
Yep.
it work."
Yep. And don't let me get my dogs or anything like that
Yeah.
because it's a wrap.
No.
You know, we gonna get you in the back of the map behind the little flower bed bush or whatever, and you're not coming out. You might as well quit. Because once we get you back there, I'm just gonna lay down my target finder. And as soon as it targets, we'll find you. You're not you might as well quit.
Yeah. Yeah, like
Beautiful time,
nobody
man.
in modern video games understands the frustration of spawn trapping because we don't have it in
Oh
video games anymore.
yeah, it was. Now when you're being the one spawn trapped, it's bull.
Yeah.
It's bull. But if you're the spawn trapper, now what was worse is when you load into a random game and you load it into a game where people quit because they were spawn trapping.
Oh
That
man.
was the worst.
Nah,
That was the worst.
when you would load into Nuketown and then instantly die and then instantly die again, have 2 deaths in 3 seconds, you're like, ah, so we're here right now.
Yep. Yep. And sometimes I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get us out of this, but it never worked.
No,
Like it's hunter killer drones everywhere. Like it's a wrap. It's
yeah,
a wrap.
there's nothing worse than it's like you spawn in, all you hear is enemy swarm inbound, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm fine.
Bro, you give me PTSD, dude. Holy crap!
I
But I
st-
loved it.
oh man, it was such a stupid game because of how you could stack score streaks and stuff. I still remember I still have a 360 clip, and I think it was I dropped a swarm in like 38 seconds because
Jeez.
because all I did was run to B flag and domination on hijacked and killed everyone like 2 times over, and
Yeah.
it was just like VSAT
Swarm.
dog swarm go, and then it was
Yep.
just it was so bad,
Yep.
but so good at
Good
the same
times, though,
time.
man.
Yeah,
Good
absolutely.
times.
So, that's what got you into gaming. So I got to ask, what started the content creation bug? Was it watching other people do it? Did you start wanting to do it yourself? Like, what got you interested in creating content? And where did you start? Was it YouTube? I mean, almost all of us started on YouTube because that's all there was back in the day. But
I'm trying to bug out a little bit because my laptop came unplugged. I probably should be good now. I know you saw. I don't know if you saw me tripping like I was like stuttering.
you're all good,
I
man.
apologize. And I say this without any hesitation because I have no shame. I had no intentions to do anything YouTube. Right, I was not interested in doing content creation. I used to be in Facebook groups heavy back in the day.
Hmm.
There used to be this group called Next Gen Gamers. I don't know if you guys remember a content creator, Next Gen 720.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
and so I was in his Facebook group, and it was just a place to be to argue about video games. That's all we did was argue about video games. And there's one guy that was in this group. He started a YouTube channel, and he would post some of the videos he would make inside of the Facebook group. And one day I was like, you know what? This guy's full of, and we're cool. This is my guy. I'm gonna go make a response.
Yeah.
And the person I responded to was none other than PlayStation Nation himself, Jay Barry.
Oh man.
I tell people all the time, if not for Jay Barry making a video that pissed me off, I would have never done YouTube. Right? So I made a reply video. If you go back, there's a channel. It's now rebranded because we're working on some rebrands at Level 1, and we're gonna have a second channel that's gonna do some different things that we're not doing on our main channel. It's called Level 1 Gaming Plus, but I haven't went through and deleted all of the old content. So all the my old FameENT channel, that's what it is now, right?
Right.
If you go to the channel and go way back, you will see it. You will see that, but you will see the original video because I was originally making a channel that was supposed to be as a COD channel of a team. We got into it, we broke up, and then I ended up, putting up Titanfall clips. I was messing around, right? But what really led me to what I'm doing today was replying to Jay Barry, and then ever since then I just fell in love with it. And then somehow I don't remember how I ran into our friend Anchorman, right? Anchorman found me. I don't know if it was in Next Gen 720's thing or somehow he found my channel. I don't remember how. Gotta ask him that. And he kind of took me under his wing. He was like, "Yeah, come on to because he had a show. God, I can't remember the name of Anchorman's show. I miss Anchorman's like channel.
Yeah.
Like I loved Anchorman. Him, Arsenal.
Yep.
I watched. There was nothing Anchorman posted that I wouldn't watch.
Yep.
I loved his content. Loved his content. Anchorman was that guy. I hate that he quit YouTube, right? But he had a podcast and he brought me on. He kind of took me under his wing, which is crazy because I'm much older than Anchorman. We talked the other day, and when he was telling me how old he was, I was like, "Well, I know I'm old now. I know I'm old now. If Anchorman is hitting the age that he's at, right?" But went from replying to Jay Barry, and then I think having that moment in combination with Anchorman finding me is what really got me in it. What really got me and motivating to do it. My original FameENT logo and all that stuff, all that was done by Anchorman. I still have it to this day. That FameENT, all done by Anchorman, and I'll never get rid of it because I know that's where I started. And it came from somebody. He was not charging you for anything. He wasn't gonna charge you a dime. Oh, you like doing this? I like doing this too. I like you. Let me make this for you. Tell me if you like it, right? So I'll never get rid of that. But yeah, that's pretty much that's where it started, man. Was Anchor, and I pretty much just kind of hung out with him, and he kind of showed me the ropes, and I was making. I can't watch the content I made back then. I can't watch it.
None of us should be like, if you ever want to put me through like the worst pain of my life is if someone unearthed my like 2012 Call of Duty YouTube channel. Like it was super successful. It did great numbers and everything else. But I could not listen to myself now because I'm just like, oh my God, stop.
It's hard. It's so hard. Like I'm not on Facebook very often.
Yeah.
It's rare. It's rare that I log into Facebook. But I keep it because I have a lot of pictures there and I got like family members there, right? But if you go in there, it'll tell you, hey, you posted this day 7 years ago. And I was like, ugh, what did I do? And that same thing with YouTube. I'm like, what the hell is this? Why does this content look jank? Why am I talking this way? This is trash content. But the style of content I was making back then was successful because people wanted to hear me rant and rave. They wanted me to be this big X-bot. You remember, I gotta remember, he still makes content, Crap Gamer.
Yes, sir.
You remember him? Me and him have never had a conversation. Somehow I was lumped into his circle where people kept thinking that I was his burner account using no voice chat. I don't know. and that makes it like, dang, the content was that bad. Because I didn't take none of that stuff serious.
No,
I
no.
didn't. It was all jokes to me, but I didn't realize at the time how serious people take you when you're doing YouTube. Like they take you seriously. Like there's no context involved. They're not going to try to see, oh, okay, he's just out here messing around. Because again, I started this channel just replying to Jay Barry as a joke, right? So I'm feeding into this console war BS content, and it was getting views. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll keep doing it,
Yeah.
And I thankfully, you know, steered away from it a bit, and then really got more into doing stuff with Anchorman. Then I don't know. I think Anchor connected me with Kyle. May he rest in peace.
Yep.
Lynn, may he rest in peace. And then I think who I am today is born out of my time at Tick.
Yep.
I think that time at Tick had to happen. It was a canon event.
It's so funny because what Tick was for so many of us was a transformative period. Because like you, I was making content on YouTube. Like I was making content on YouTube for like Call of Duty and stuff in like 2009, 2010. Like I had one of those old bulky 360 capture cards. Like I had the 1080p gameplay. I really invested. I had I had like 30,000 subs on my channel. It was great. It was popping for you.
Killing it.
It was great back in the day. And like, don't get me
you
wrong.
You deleted it, did you? We gotta find it.
Yeah, no, I deleted it because I was one of those Call of Duty guys that would just argue with people in response videos constantly, and I look back on it when I was like probably about 6 years ago, and I was like, yeah, I need to nuke this because this is just terrible. But that's the thing is like when I was doing that content, I was 19. Like, I was ignorant as hell. Like, it was like, that was a decade ago. I was like, man, I was 19. I was ignorant as all hell. Of course, that's what I was doing on the internet at that time. But yeah, no, Tick was kind of this weird transition phase because, like, I remember because I started writing because I was part of the Facebook group We Game Here. That's where I met Anchor.
I left that out.
Yeah,
because I forget. I'm like going all over the place, and I don't mean to cut you off. And it's probably because I don't talk to those guys anymore. But I was at We Game Here.
Yep.
I was at We Game Here before I was with Tick. I was in that Facebook group. We had the We Game Here YouTube channel. Yep. If you go back to my old channel, you'll see my We Game Here content, and then went from We Game Here to Hard Knock Gamers.
Yep.
With me and Dre. Kid Smooth was there.
Yep.
And then the fallout happened there, and then the Tick. But I didn't mean to cut you off, but man, you bring it back, throwback times. I forgot about being at We Game Here, and that's probably because I kind of took those guys out of my head. But yeah.
Yeah, but no, that was the crazy thing because I met Anchorman in We Game Here, and then I started to switched over to Hard Knock Gamers. And then I remember Dre talking to me about writing for the site. I was like, man, I ain't a writer. I do videos. He's like, well, we need writers. We don't need more people doing videos. And I was like, all right. I remember it was me and God rest his soul, Demigod was part of that as well. Demi was part of that. And
that's where I met Demi.
Yep. Me and Demi did reviews on that site to start. And then that got absorbed by Tick. Because Cal was
Do you remember the Writer's Block?
Yep, Writer's Block podcast. You, me, Kid Smooth, Matt, and there was somebody else in there too.
It was Demi, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Demi. Yep.
Yeah.
Because he'd always be playing Street Fighter in the background. You could hear his controller clicking through the whole podcast.
Oh man, I missed the Writer's Block. Good times, dude.
Yeah, and then Hard Knock Gamers got absorbed by Tick because it's so wild to me. Cal was acquiring websites back before Xbox was acquiring studios, man. Like that is the wildest thing. Like basically people were trying to make channels and websites big enough to get absorbed by Tick at that point in time. It was Crazy.
I remember the day, because a lot of people don't know. Like I started Hard Knock with Dre,
Yep.
and I remember the day Cal hit us up. Anchor hit me up. He was like, "Hey, Cal's thinking about wanting to absorb y'all up," and I was like, "We fresh off the heels of Phil Spencer."
Yep.
Tick was,
Yep.
and I went to Dre. I was like, "Yeah." Dre was like, "No." I was like, "Yes, let's do this." And so I convinced him to do it, and it wasn't even a month, and Dre was like, "I'm out." And I said, "You can have it all, because I'm staying."
Yep.
And I remember being on the phone with Kid Smooth, because it was like it was mutiny was going on. It was a party divided. It was Dre on one side, me on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being on the phone with Kid Smooth. I remember talking to Demi. I said, "Demi, is you staying or you going?" Because pretty much if you going, that means you going with Dre. You staying with me. And I remember doing the same phone call with Kid Smooth, and Kid Smooth was just like, I could tell on the phone Kid Smooth about to say, "Man, I'm just gonna go out. I'm gonna go out on my own." And that's pretty much what happened when that happened, right?
Yep.
Kid Smooth was like, "I'm done. I'm not choosing sides. I'm not choosing between you and Dre. I'm not choosing We Game Here Tick. I'm just finna freaking leave," right?
Yep.
And yeah, man, I ain't talked to Dre since.
Yeah, I think the last time I talked to him was when my daughter was born in 2015. He congratulated me, and that was the last conversation I had with him.
I don't even know if dude is still even around, like on social media.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think I saw him on Facebook, but like you, I don't use Facebook like that. So
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and Tick was such a transformative time period, because that's when I really started doing the writer thing, because that's when Anchor brought in Sam, and then me and Sam started doing all the writing stuff, and that really
I forgot about Sam.
yeah. And then
Not forgot about him, but I forgot he was over there.
yeah, and that's the thing, is like that Tick became a vehicle of people expanding into the industry out of Tick. Like that was a leaping.
A lot of us are
for a lot
born
of
out
us.
of Tick Pod. A lot of us are born out of Tick. And I again, may he rest in peace. I remember the day that I decided to start level 1, and I didn't know how to tell him that I was leaving. I did not know how to tell him I was leaving, but some stuff had happened, and I'm not gonna necessarily hash it up, because I know it was yeah. Go ahead. I know it was it's a sour point for a lot of people, but some stuff happened. I was like, it's time for me to go, and I didn't know how to tell him. I went to, because we were doing we started Double XP podcast, because I don't know if you remember Nicodemus X.
I definitely remember Nicodemus, because he was one of the funniest dudes we had, and two, he was the one that was hyping Hellblade like a year before
He was
anyone
hyping
else
it
cared
before
about
I
it.
was hyping it.
Yeah,
He got me hyped for Hellblade, right?
yeah,
So now he has a YouTube channel. He does K-pop stuff.
yep.
He has a YouTube channel, over 300,000 subscribers on YouTube.
I
Dude
always
is
knew he was going to
killing
be
it.
big on YouTube. I didn't
He
know what he
was
would end up
killing
doing,
it.
but so good.
So at Tick, me and Nick started a podcast, and it was originally called the Xbox versus PlayStation podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and Mama Sita. No, not Mama Sita. Dude. Okay. It was me and Dizzy. I don't know why I drew a blank on Dizzy. May he rest his soul. May he rest in peace. It was me and Dizzy versus Nicodemus and Crunk Girl.
Yeah.
Right. So the podcast was started with me and Dizzy. Dizzy was me and Dizzy, and we would debate, right? Back and forth, me and Dizzy versus them two. And then Dizzy had to leave, and it sucked. But that's how I ended up getting Mama Sita on. And so 2XP, which is what the podcast is called now, Double XP Podcast, right? It was originally the X and the P was 2 Xbox, 2 PlayStation.
Oh.
That's what it was, right? That's originally what it was. And right before we left Tick, we transformed it. Like, this is no longer a debate show, because that's what it was. It was a debate show. Like, we were trying to be the Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith of the world. We was debating. It was a debate show, but it was all out of love. It was fun. We had a good time. And but that's how it started with Nicodemus X. Me and him been on opposite sides. I'm Xbox, he's PlayStation. Let's battle it out, And that podcast started on Tick.
Yep.
I ran the idea by Lynn. I said, hey, I got an idea for a show that I want to do, and he said, okay, and I said, I want to run it. I'm gonna run it over here. He was like, okay. Um, so we ran the show. If it initially aired on my channel because I wanted to show him what the idea and stuff was.
Right.
And eventually he liked it and we migrated it over to the Tick channel. Um, but yeah, that's how it all really started with the WXP podcast ran by level one. It was originally a Tick podcast. Which
Yep.
is crazy.
That's the crazy part is like you look at the shows that were on like the Tick network, like
Yeah.
ILP got a good chunk started there.
Yeah.
And like
I remember being in the same room with ILP. It was, it was looking back at like, man, like we were all under the same roof, but like we didn't really communicate that much. We were all under the same network. It was crazy.
yeah, it was a crazy amount of talent all in one spot at a time when everyone was in the formative era, so to speak.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
you put that together now, that's just insanity. Like if you had Tick in 2023 with all that talent and everything, whew.
Bro, could you imagine? First off, ILP is a beast. As someone who's trying to grow level one, ILP is a mammoth, right? Could you imagine Tick and what they were able to do and accomplish? With Lynn and B Money and all those guys able to accomplish. If things could have kept going the way that Lynn wanted them to go, Tick would probably be the biggest name in like you're thinking about the IGN, the GameSpots, and you're thinking Tick Games Network.
Yeah.
Because of the amount, not just podcasting and personalities, that on the writing side as well, right?
Yep.
Everybody was there.
Yep.
Everybody was there. And when you look back on it, that thing could have been monstrous.
Yep.
Monstrous.
Yeah, it's the challenge, and part of the reason it was so hard to keep everything together is when you have that many talented people all under one roof, it's very, very hard to stick it all together.
There was a lot of how do you say alphas?
Yes. Yeah, that's see my biggest regret, and to this day it's still my biggest regret, is like me and Cal left on bad terms. Like when I left Tick, me and him did not have a friendly conversation. It was like, I quit, I'm done, we're over this. And we've DM'd back and forth maybe 2 times. He made a tweet about it, kind of like subtweeted me. I just let it roll, and then we never talked again. And then like, I'm gonna say like 3 years later, he messaged me on Facebook and was like, hey, I'd love to get on a call with you and just like bury the hatchet. He's like, I had a lot of stuff going on at the time. I didn't mean to take it out on you. Da 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 da. And my biggest regret is I left that on red because I instantly got petty over it. Yeah. I got instantly petty over it, and I was like, no, I'm done with this. And then I kid you not, 3 weeks later, his wife's posting that he passed away, and I was like, man. And I would give anything to bury the hatchet with him. I wish I had. I wish I had had the maturity at the time to have done it. And it really changed my whole mentality on how I deal with people in this space and just in general. It's like I just don't leave mad with people anymore because there's no point. You never know.
You just never know. You just never know. Because we lost, Dizzy, we lost Lynn, and then when we lost Demi, it was just like gut check. I was like, I can't lose somebody else close to me because as much as I know people when they think of Dizzy, they think of ILP, but me and that man started a whole podcast together that I'm still running to this day. When it comes to Dizzy, man, and I was happy that I was able to. Again, it wasn't the best of terms when I left Tick, but me and Lynn were on talking terms. We were still cordial. We were still nice. But man, that hurts. I hate that for you, honestly. But
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, man, Lynn was such a cool guy.
Yeah. And that's why I'm so mad at myself about it, because it was we were angry at each other over such stupid, like, remedial things. It just
Hmm.
it was pointless. And
Yeah.
it's the same thing as, like, you talk about, like, you talk about someone who built up people. You talk about, like, Anchorman. Dizzy was another guy who just built other people up. And,
Hmm.
like, he never will get the credit well, I feel like he never gets the credit he deserves
Nope.
for the amount of stuff he did behind the scenes
Yep.
and everything else. Like, I remember when I left Tick, I think it took Cog 35 minutes after the public announcement to slide into my DMs and be like, "Hey buddy, we got a website." He's like,
Hey,
I'm not
listen. Had I already left and had my website, I would have DM'd you too.
and so he's like, oh, there's no rush, there's no rush decisions or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, well, I'm like, me and Dizzy don't get along. Like, he's got me blocked. Like, we don't like each other, so I don't see that working out. And Cog, Cog. He's like,
Cog
no,
is
no,
gonna
no,
make it
no.
work.
He's like, no, we'll make it work. He's like, we'll hop in a call, we'll figure it out. So
Yep.
he's like, I'll get back to you. So next day he messages me back and he goes, yeah, Dizzy's all good. He's unblocked you. We'll just talk. He's like, just write a submission in, and we'll look it over, and then we'll take it from there. And so we did all that. Me and Dizzy kind of worked on and off together uh, for a little bit, and, like, we talked occasionally, but it was always, like, really website focused. And then what will always strike me with him and just really nailed down how selfless of a person he was is the amount of times that when you were starting level 1 gaming, he came to me for advice and was like, hey, I'm helping Fame with this. Do you think this is a good idea? And I was like, damn, okay, you really just looking out for everyone else.
He helped a lot when we started it. It was crazy.
And, like, when the next generation consoles launched, I was in a financial crunch and I was supposed to do the Xbox Series X review. And I was like, yeah, I can't keep my pre-order. Like, it's just not viable for me. And Dizzy goes, yeah, okay. He's like, yeah, let me work on it. And that man hit up individually with, I'm
I
pretty sure
remember this.
Anchorman's help, hit up
I remember. I
every,
remember Anchorman sending out the DMs. I
yep,
remember that.
yep, Anchorman and Dizzy sent out DMs, and I got those two set up an Xbox Series X for me so that I could do the LogNet review from that. And all the while that Dizzy's doing all this man's going through chemo on a regular basis
Hmm.
and everything else and dealing with all these health issues, and he did not spend a second worrying about himself.
And you talked about, and I know this could take us out on a rabbit hole, right? But you talked about your regret with Kyle. I'm gonna tell you my regret with Dizzy really quickly, as I think I've only spoken about this with people at level 1, the Huggers and Baron, right? So I don't know if you guys remember. I don't know if you remember when I got sick with the COVID,
Yep.
right? I was in the hospital uh for a couple of weeks, man. I went through it bad, and I got out, and it was all good. Well, of course, Dizzy knew that, so he had shot me a message, and he said something along the lines of, "Hey, back when you were dealing with the COVID, kind of tell me about it and some of the things you went through." And I was like, "Oh yeah, bro, I had this, that, and the other." He was like, "Well, did they do this thing in particular? I want to put his business out there." And I was like, "No, bro, they didn't do that to me." And I didn't dig. I didn't say, "Bro, are you okay?" Because looking back at what he said to me, that was a terrible sign.
Yeah.
And he sent that message to me, and he died 2 days later.
Yeah.
After I responded to him, "No, they didn't do that to me." I'm casually thinking like, "Oh no, they had that done." Not thinking like, stop for a second and just kind of talk to him.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, he was in a bad place. He was panicking. He was worried. And he knew I had the information, so he was trying to get this information out of me. And I'm casually thinking everything's fine with him. He just asking questions.
Yep.
And he died 2 days later.
Yep. And I think that was the saddest thing for me with him was that the cancer was getting better and he was doing better and he had some light at the end of the tunnel, and then COVID got him. And I remember the reason it stung so much with him is because with him going through the cancer and always being sick and always fighting back, it was just this sense of feeling of, oh, he's got it. He'll be back.
Yep.
It's Dizzy. He always makes it. He's Dizzy.
Yep.
He'll make it back and he'll be, his usual ignorant laughing self in no time.
And he like bad football teams.
Yeah.
He'll be back talking football soon enough and we'll be all good.
Yeah. And then it was like he's got COVID and then he's in ICU and then he was gone. And it was like 5 days.
Like that.
Yeah. And
like that, but
and that's the thing is it's like it's wild because through the first half of my content creation, like I latched on to certain people like you and Anchor and everything else, and like I consider you my friends, but it's so weird in the back half of it, and when we started losing people, how that affected how I view on those relationships and how I try to bring those in, because it's like there's so much of this stuff that's built from these people's memories, because I know like Demi did a ton of stuff for you guys.
Yeah, Demi was one of the original founders of Level 1, and it's crazy because Anchor, I told Anchor he got to call me more often because he at one point he was on the calling me when people died, from Lynn to Dizzy to Demi. And we were fortunate that when Demi died, I got in contact with his mom. And I was like, hey, are you able to know ABC? She was like, hey, I don't know how I'm going to do AB. And I was like, don't worry about it. Level 1 going to take care of it. And I don't know if she believed me at that time. So I said, Level 1 going to take care of it. When Demi died, we raised $10,000 to make sure he was sent off right. 10 G's. And we made sure he was sent home right. And I will always be happy that we was able to do that for my boy, because I wasn't ready for the person who everybody thought was actually my nephew, because I called him nephew so many times. They thought he was my actual nephew.
That was like a decade-long joke of Demi being your nephew.
Yep.
But yeah, so we'll kind of branch in. I want to use the last 15 minutes here, kind of branch in with Level 1 and how you've managed to build that up. And to be brutally honest, one of the things that has always impressed me with what you've done with Level 1 Gaming is the diversity that's front facing with Level 1 Gaming, and it's actual diversity. It's not only diversity in terms of color and skin and race or anything like that. It's also diversity in the types of thought that you guys put into the site and everything else. Has there been necessarily any challenges that have come because of that? Have you ever received pushback on that? Like, let's talk about that.
A lot of challenges. Stemming from, because of course, a lot of is volunteer based, because the point of Level 1 is this: every video game you ever play, you start at Level 1. Everywhere you start, right? So we want to be a starting point for people. Hey, I want to be in the industry. I want to be able to do this, that, and the other. I don't know where to go. You can come here, and we can give you a chance to do that, right? A lot of the challenges we face is because a lot of it is volunteer based, and people, wanting to do certain things, and we got to make sure things are still structured, even though, you're volunteered and we're giving you a chance, things have to be structured. You have to do things the right way, and then trying to build a team around that to make sure checks and balances are done correctly. We've gone from having different lawsuits because writers have done things they shouldn't have been doing, and the editors failed to check it, and then I failed to check behind the editor because I put too much trust in the editor to make sure what's going up can't go up.
Yeah.
I think the lawsuit was like the biggest hurdle, because I didn't that's a lot. Can you imagine just waking up and realize, oh, we're being sued? Like at the blink of an eye, brand new, waking up, realize we're being sued, and you're scrambling going back and forth trying to figure out how and why this happened, and then you have to let people go, and then they're stressing because they're worried about it. And then because I will protect my people to my dying breath, we stood in front of the writer and we took the lawsuit on ourselves, and we did everything. We paid for everything, and it was bad. And it's one of the worst days of my life, worst moments of my life. Um, that's one of the bigger challenges is you're trying to create something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Limited budget, limited team, trying to keep people motivated, trying to get people to continue to want to grow. I've lost so many people to great publications. I remember the day I lost Jay to ILP. I
Yep.
don't know if you remember Jay.
I know Jay.
Um,
Very familiar.
yeah, and I remember the day I lost him, and I was like, "You son of a gun!" And I was like, "If you're gonna go anywhere, I'm glad that's where he went." Um, because I don't view ILP as competition. I view ILP as a resource. Right. I got so many conversations with COG. I'm like, I've never viewed ILP as, oh, I need to do this because ILP is doing. I use them. Oh, that's a resource. Like, hey, like, give me some advice on A. Give me some advice on B. And it's
Mhm.
always been that way since the start because of Dizzy. There's always been a mutual connection or mutual respect between ILP and Level One, and that all started with Dizzy, right?
Yep.
But it's been challenging, and some of the challenges we have now aren't necessarily not mutual to the challenge we had at the beginning. With the different writers and the team we have together. I've taken on more of the content creation role as of late because we lost of course we lost Demi. Dallas has taken a step back, which I'm happy that well, I guess I could say Dallas is returning. I'm so super excited. As you know, Dallas man is the voice you hear when you listen to ILP when it turns on every Sunday, and he's the voice you hear at the beginning of Double XP, right?
Mhm.
Dude is an amazing artist. I'm super excited to be getting him back in the flow of things. Um, and right now, the one of the biggest challenges is trying to cement ourselves. Like we talked about the whole Bethesda thing, right? And being
Mhm.
able to do with Starfield because we've done so much work with Bethesda beforehand, and just trying to cement ourselves that hey, you know, though we are a place for people to grow, and we are a place for people to get an opportunity to see if this is what they want to do in the industry, we still want to be looked at as a respected publication and a respected brand, right?
Mhm.
And I've been able to get like crazy opportunities, like with when Ryan McCaffrey first messaged me, he was like, "Hey, um, to come on podcast unlocked, bro." I almost peed all over myself.
Man.
I couldn't, I couldn't DM him fast enough, but I had to wait because I didn't want to seem thirsty. I couldn't DM back fast enough.
Man, I remember when Ryan announced you were gonna be on it. I swear, Ryan sent that tweet and Anchor hit my phone 4 seconds later, and he was like, "Yo, Fame's on Podcast Unlocked," and I'm like, "No, no way!" I remember being so amped because it was so cool when Cog bridged the gap to Podcast
Yeah.
Unlocked. And then to see
Mm-hmm.
you as well bridge that gap, to see someone else from our community space that had been working so hard get that recognition was so cool to see.
It was dope, and to be able to get on there, I've been on there twice, but I would have been on like 4 or 5 times already. But one of the challenges I go through because I actually have a 9 to 5,
Yep.
so sometimes I can't actually get on, and I hate telling Ryan no when he messages me. And I'm like, bro, I can't swing it. I feel so bad because I'd love to be on there. But I've had him on 2XP a few times. I've had him on. I've had Jeff Grubb on.
Yep.
So many people in the community that I've been able to have onto the show. But I've always told people, the sign of who you are isn't necessarily about who will come onto your show. It's who will invite you onto theirs.
Absolutely.
That's a sign of who you are and what people think about you. Because they'll come onto your platform, to your audience all day and tomorrow. But will they introduce you to their audience?
Yep.
That's the key. If they won't introduce you to their audience, they don't really like you.
Yep.
They don't.
And that's honestly the biggest challenge that faces the content creation space right now is like there's a lot of really small audiences and then there's really a handful of really big audiences, and
Mhm.
like what you do with your 15 minutes, pun intended, um it really matters ultimately. Like what you get known for in breaking through for can stick with you. Like my only like big, like I've broken a few news stories over the
Mhm.
past few years, the Halo Infinite lead engineer leaving, things like that, but I'll
Mhm.
always remember the story that got me the most pushback and made people actually look at me, take me seriously, was I did a story. So Jason Schreier wrote a report about how Gearbox wasn't paying bonuses to people after the launch of Borderlands 3. And then what ended up happening is I actually signed up for LinkedIn because I was trying to create like a resume for my writing on LinkedIn. And it gave me a
Mhm.
recommendation for a production manager at Gearbox. And this production manager just published a like 3-page thing about how Schreier's report was wrong. These were the bonuses that were doled out. And, everybody was making this kind of money. So I went, that's interesting. So I wrote that up and went, hey, this production manager is saying that they indeed did get bonuses and that Schreier's report is false. I didn't say Schreier's report was false. All I said was this is
Yeah.
the information. So what people did is this got picked up on a few news sites. Dual Shockers reported it. But then what people started doing is they started replying to Jason Schreier with the link to my article, to
Did he
which he
block you for that?
actually quote tweeted it and said, well, he has no basis for this information. Which then, of course, riled people up more, saying, wait, no, there's a game director that's saying that this is the case. So it started this whole
Mhm.
spiel storm, and I ended up getting like 300 followers because Jason Schreier said I was a liar.
I'm surprised he didn't block you.
He did.
Oh, okay, there we go.
He did unblock me the last time he went on ILP. The last time he came on Iron Lord's podcast, he did
Oh, okay.
unblock me. But that's been my 15 minutes so far. But it is really cool though when you see people react to stuff you create or like be
Mhm.
invited into, you know, Podcast Unlocked, which has been a podcast longer than most shows out there, right?
Yeah. It's an OG.
Yeah.
It really is an OG, and it was. And I'm gonna make this point really quickly, because I know we're short on time, and it makes me think about the my first 15 minutes of fame, and as far as writing goes.
Mm.
If you go on level1gaming.com, you'll see an article, and it's not a major thing, right? But I was getting dragged on forums. I was getting dragged on N4G. I was getting dragged all over the place because I wrote an article because I did some diving and I discovered that the Scott Pilgrim game was coming back.
Mm.
I dug that up and I wrote an article about it. And if you timestamp when it was announced versus the article I wrote, that's my proof that I wrote this well before and the announcement that it was coming back. And I felt so vindicated when it was announced.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, no one came back and apologized.
No.
No one came back and said, "Oh, this dude was right." It kind of the article just got ignored, and no one came back and said, "You know what, dude, my fault." Because I was getting drugged. I was like, that's like I was just thought I was making stuff up, and two plus two doesn't equals four. It equals three, and I wish I had more moments like that writing. I really enjoy writing, and that's why like I'm super proud of you and the work that you do over at ILP. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, had I started level one earlier, I would have sent that DM before Cog did. I
Man,
would have sent that before Cog because we had too much history.
yes,
It'd have been a
sir.
no brainer for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's kind of it's it's really insane because it's amazing how much just a little bit can get you in the games industry though.
Yeah.
just someone giving you a nod and just a little bit of a platform can really help. It not only helps you in terms of engagement and getting people, to know who you are, but it's just, you just need that approval. Like every 6 months, you just need that bump, right? Like somebody going, hey, you're doing a great job. Keep doing that. And that just,
It feels great. It feels it kind of vindicates you in a lot of ways. You're like, okay, all right, because I think that for a lot of people, it's hard for them to want to give that type of credit and respect to people,
hmm,
especially when you're a bigger name. But when they do it, man, it feels really good.
yeah. So my final question for you,
Hmm.
it involves, we're going to call it challenges.
Okay.
Um, as a black content creator in this current space and everything else, are things getting easier, or are they still just as challenging as they were, say, a few years ago? Are things getting easier? Are things getting better? Or are you still hitting a lot of really heavy doors in trying to branch into the industry?
I'm going to be honest. Not that I would lie, but
Yeah, I was gonna say,
it's
I know you.
it's a give and take. It's a difficult answer to give, because at one point I want to tell you that, oh, it's just difficult as it's ever been, but then you get some people like Neo, Cognito, who have broken the seal,
Hmm.
and they broke the seal and they secretively put a ladder right behind them and say, hey, here's the ladder, climb up that ladder, and that allows me to, boom, okay, appreciate it, you know. But it's so few and far in between of people like us. It's not a secret that, I've had. We're cool now. As a matter of fact, we was talking earlier with me in Paris. We had a major falling out on Twitter. I don't know if people remember that.
Yep, I remember
And
that.
Og actually asked me to jump in a call one time, and Paris was in there, and he kind of made us hug it out. Like it was freaking Cog, man. You gotta love this guy. Um, and one of the things that, about the difficulty is something I had said that kind of got me in Paris, kind of into it, because I feel like every time we get to Black History Month, every time there's something to do with Black people, we're always seeing the same group of people getting the opportunities.
Mm.
So part of the difficulty with being a Black content creator, someone Black in the space, a lot of it comes from my own people. Just being honest, because some people want to be the only one.
Yep.
I know that that's a very controversial thing to say, but it's the truth. There are some people who get that certain place, and they're not going to put that ladder down, but some will. Um, and I think that's one of the biggest challenges. Do I feel I'll never come out and say I'm not with 100 million subscribers because I'm Black. That's not the case. That's silly. That's kind of stupid.
Mm.
Is it helping me? Hell no. Hell no. If I was a faceless, here's the thing. If I was a faceless YouTube channel, I'd be big. I'd be bigger than I am now. So does it hinder me some? Of course. That's the nature of the world, right? Uh, but could I be I feel like I would be further along if I had more people like Cognito, who's willing to give somebody like me, like, I was having an issue, and he was like, hey, email this person, talk to this person, do this, do that, boom, boom, there you go. When it's like, well, some people, it's like pulling teeth. No one wants to tell you a direction. Like, you don't have to give me this person's, email. Can you, will you do an introduction? Will you point me in the right direction? Something.
Mm.
And that doesn't always happen. So I think it's sort of a multi-layered answer.
Yeah.
In totality, yes, but it's not because, white man trying to keep me down. Um, because that's a short-sighted answer to a bigger issue.
Hmm.
Um, but it hasn't stopped me from trying. It hasn't stopped me from working hard. Um, and I do believe that hard work is, people are gonna tell you work hard. Put your I want to grow on YouTube. Well, get out there and make 1 million videos. It doesn't work that way.
No.
It doesn't work that way. People will tell you all day, I got where I'm at because I worked hard. No, you got where you are because you might have put, yeah, you put some work in, but there was someone who was already there who co-signed for you.
Yep.
That's what it is. No one can sit there and just do the work. That doesn't get you where you want it to where you want to be. It's going to take somebody who's already at that level to co-sign for you.
Yep.
And I've been lucky enough to, be in a position where I've had some people who look like me, help me bump up a little bit. Am I where I want to be? No, but I know I got people that help me get there, and so um, I'm I'm never content on where we are, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't happy at the growth. So it's a hell of a ride. I'm 35. I don't know how much longer I want to be down here. But the ride has been fun. I've been able to do things that I've never been able to do. It's not a place I can't go to. I won't get in as media. Um, it was super cool to be at DreamCon and to be able to just to wrap it up with the guys at RDC. That was cool as hell. Being able to chill with and I guess I can. Yeah, I'm working on you're my age. Remember Holes?
Yes.
Yeah, you remember Zero?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll be having them coming on the show pretty soon.
Right on.
So
Right on.
I've been fortunate to be able to do things like that, right? That's something I haven't even announced, but working with his team to lock in a date. So I've been fortunate to do things. I can't complain because I've done things that people wish they can be able to do, but I know I have a lot of room to grow, and the things that are difficult for me won't necessarily stop me.
Yeah. And I think that's just in terms of reaching a ladder down, I think that's the biggest struggle that a lot of people have in this
Hmm.
space is like that one opportunity can be the opportunity for you.
Yep.
And like you can't take those opportunities for granted. Like I can't even count on two hands the amount of opportunities COG has hit me up with and been like, "Hey, you're my guy for this. We're doing this."
Hmm.
And I every time I secure a review code or get something for one of the guys or girls with Lognet, and I can give someone a really cool opportunity to review a game or an interview or anything like that. That's just such a great
Hmm.
feeling, and I think that's the biggest thing is we just all have to keep reaching out and expanding um, each other, basically.
Yeah.
And I really,
I'll hit you up. I'll be like, hey, any advice on this? Anything? I will reach out to my friends in a heartbeat. I believe in reaching out to people because you know you, you you don't know what you don't know, and you never know until you ask.
yep. And I think that to close out, I think that's one of the reasons I'll like. I know Ryan McCaffrey gets a lot of flack for a lot of different things, and like I don't agree with him on everything. I don't think you should ever agree with someone on everything. But what I will give him credit for is when, everyone's like, yeah, we need more black creators and et cetera, et cetera. Everyone did it for about 2 months and then stopped. Ryan hasn't stopped.
He has not stopped.
He has had such a wide volume of different creators, whether they be black, Hispanic, or anyone,
Hmm.
anywhere in between. And he's really focused on expanding the diversity of voice and people that come on Unlocked. It's done amazing
Hmm.
things for them. But it's just, to me, it's what we need. We need someone who's in a position of power like Ryan to go, hey, you know what? I have a platform to raise people up. I should find people to raise up. And
And so
I
I will always give him his flowers.
it's great to see, and that's why hopefully as the industry continues to grow because it's ever expanding, we'll
Yep.
see more and more of that. So I want to thank you for your time and sitting down and
No,
having this conversation.
we
um,
got to hang out more, bro.
Absolutely. um, we kind of talked about everything, but and I've got your links in the description, but just give yourself a little outro.
Yeah, man. I am Fame ENT, long time name. If you were to give a throwback, Fame I had was this for all my enemies. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna drop the F bomb, right? That's really what it means, right? And I transformed it to for all my enemies. But these days, I really go by David, man. I know all the OGs still call me Fame. But as I've grown to level one, I go by David, man, at LV1 Gaming and LV1gaming.com. And yeah, check out the site.
Absolutely. And definitely check out the podcast. And y'all do such great work. And I really look forward to see what you guys cook up for the rest of the year, because 2023 has been
Yeah,
a
got
wild
a
year.
fun guest next week. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, man. Well, as always, I appreciate your time, and anyone who tunes in, listens via MP3 audio, we appreciate you for tuning into the first episode of Cheat Code Presents. I appreciate anyone that checks this out. I know there'll be a lot of people listening tomorrow because everyone's diving into Starfield early access right now. Yeah, everyone's in the stars right now. But if you have any recommendations of creators, writers, or anything in between that you want to see on here, please let me know in the comments or tweet me at Nicholas at CC Radio on the. I still call it Twitter. It's still Twitter to me.
It's still Twitter.
I feel like telling people to message me on X is just not great. But yeah, appreciate all your time and contributions, Fame. And don't forget, folks, you can check out Cheat Code Radio on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this Monday. Me and Anchor are going to be talking about Starfield, of course. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye for now.